Almost directly in the center of Staten Island, there is the neighborhood of Richmondtown. This neighborhood is a nice quiet place to live in the city without the hustle and bustle of the actual city. Most of the houses in Richmondtown are single-family detached homes. On West Cedarview Avenue and surrounding streets, you can find many modest single-family detached homes. In the northern portion of the neighborhood, you'll be able to find many larger single-family detached homes on streets such as Ardsley Street, Natick Street, St. Andrews Road, and St. George Road. In the southern portion of the neighborhood, there are many low-rise attached homes, small multi-family homes, semi-detached 1- and 2-family homes, and detached 1- and 2-family homes on Boyce Avenue, Corona Avenue, and the surrounding streets. In Richmondtown, there are also a couple of community complexes to live in. One of these complexes is Colonial Square, which is made up of Franklin Lane and Revere Lane. If you are looking for the schools in the neighborhood, you will find a few. The only public school is PS 23, located at 30 Natick Street. There are two private schools, St. Patrick's School and Rabbi Jacob Joseph School for Boys. St. Patrick's School is located at 3560 Richmond Road and teaches kindergarten through 8th grade. Rabbi Jacob Joseph School for Boys is located at 3495 Richmond Road and also teaches kindergarten through 8th grade. There are also two independent preschools, Richmondtown Children's Preschool located at 3435 Richmond Road and Community Resources Preschool located at 3651 Richmond Road. In Richmondtown, there are two main points of interest. They are the Richmondtown branch of the New York Public Library and Historic Richmondtown. The Richmondtown branch of the New York Public Library is located at 200 Clark Avenue. This library has two floors. The first floor is for the young adult and adult sections, while the second floor is for the children's section. Historic Richmondtown is a nice place to go, relax, see, and experience Staten Island's past. If you want to go visit Historic Richmondtown, there is their visitor parking lot at 441 Clark Avenue, and the streets that encompass this area are Clark Avenue, Arthur Kill Road, Richmond Road, and St. Patrick's Place. In Historic Richmondtown, there are about 30 buildings, some picnic areas, and historic sites that make up the area. The Historical Society, which established Historic Richmondtown, has restored many of the buildings and also moved some important houses to this area. By doing this, they have kept Staten Island's past alive. Historic Richmondtown offers many events, guided tours, and the experience of living in the 19th century. In Richmondtown, there are the 20 landmarks from Historic Richmondtown, as well as the landmark Moore Macmillan House. Out of all of the buildings in Historic Richmondtown, only 20 of them are New York City landmarks, which were built in three different time periods: before the 1700s, between the 1700s and 1800s, and after the 1800s. Prior to the 1700s, there were two houses that were built. Breton Cottage was the first to be built around 1670 and became a landmark in 1976. This house was originally built in the neighborhood of Newdorp and was relocated to Historic Richmondtown in 1967. Vorleser's house was built around 1695 and became a landmark in 1969. Between 1700 and 1800, there were 5 houses that were built. The first was the Treasure House, which was built around 1700 and became a landmark in 1969. The second was the Christopher House, which was built around 1720 in the neighborhood of Willowbrook. It became a landmark in 1967 and was moved to Historic Richmondtown in 1969. The third house was the Guyan Lake Tyson House, which was built in the neighborhood of Newdorp around 1740. It was moved to Historic Richmondtown in 1962 and became a landmark in 1969. The fourth house was the Bohm Frost House, which was built in the neighborhood of Green Ridge around 1750. This house was relocated to Historic Richmondtown in the late 1900s, and it became a landmark in 1969. The last house is the Cruiser Finley House, also known as Cooper's Shop, which was built around 1790 in the neighborhood of Egbertville. It was moved to Historic Richmondtown in 1966 and became a landmark in 1969. After the 1800s, there were 13 more buildings constructed. 7 of these buildings were constructed in the first half of the century. The first house is the Basket Maker's House, which was built around 1810 in the neighborhood of New Springville. This house was relocated in the late 1900s and became a landmark in 1969. The next house is the Henry Seaman Cottage, which was built around 1836, down the block from where it now sits. This house was moved to its current location and became a landmark in 2005. The next building is the 3rd County Courthouse, which was built around 1837. This courthouse was Staten Island's first county building and was used as the Richmond County Courthouse up until 1919. The 3rd County Courthouse became a landmark in 1969. The next house is the Stevens Black House, which was built around 1838 and became a landmark in 1969. The next house is the Bennett House, which was built around 1839 and became a landmark in 1969. The next building is the General Store, which was built around 1840 and became a landmark in 1969. The next building is now the Historical Museum. It was originally the Richmond County Clerk's and Surrogate's office and was built around 1848. This became the museum in 1934 and was designated a landmark in 1969. The first house to be built in the latter half of the 19th century was the Parsonage, which was built around 1855 and became a landmark in 1969. The next house is the Stevens Prier House, which was built around 1857 and became a landmark in 1999. The next building is the Eltingville Store Print Shop, also known as the Grocery Store, which was built in the neighborhood of Eltingville around 1860. This house was moved to historic Richmondtown in the late 1900s and became a landmark in 1969. The next building is St. Patrick's Church, which was built around 1860 and became a landmark in 1968. The next house is the Edwards Barton House, which was built around 1869 and became a landmark in 2001. Lastly is the Church of St. Andrew, which was originally built in 1712, but due to fires it was damaged and rebuilt in 1872. This church has a graveyard around it where many important Staten Islanders are buried. The second building that was built as the Church of St. Andrew became a landmark in 1967. The Moore Macmillan House is located at 3531 Richmond Road. This used to be the rectory of the Church of St. Andrew and was known as the Golden Rectory. This landmark building was built in 1818 to replace the original house that was constructed in 1716. The Moore Macmillan House was designated a New York City landmark in 1967. The southern portion of Richmondtown is mostly filled by 2 cemeteries, Mount Richmond Cemetery and United Hebrew Cemetery. These 2 cemeteries are both affiliated with the Jewish religion and date back to the early 1900s. Mount Richmond Cemetery is located at 420 Clark Avenue, and United Hebrew Cemetery is located at 122 Arthur Kill Road. If you need to go shopping, there is a small plaza surrounded by a few stores on Richmond Road by the corner of Altman Avenue. The plaza, known as Riccardi Plaza, has a couple of local shops and is located at 3471 Richmond Road. If you need to get around in Richmondtown, there are 2 local buses and 1 express bus. The local buses are the S54 and the S74, which both travel along Arthur Kill Road and Richmond Road. The S54 bus travels between West New Brighton and Eltingville, while the S74 bus travels between the St. George Ferry Terminal and the Bricktown Mall. The express bus is the X15, which travels along Arthur Kill Road, Richmond Road, and Wilder Avenue to get to and from Lower Manhattan. For more information on the neighborhoods of Staten Island, you can visit our website at realestatesiny.com.